dead effing last. So I call him the knock knock guy. Hey, what's up, guys? So I just did the piece of cake road race, Cat 4-5. It was my very first road race. This is in Oregon, outside of Woodburn, about an hour, half an hour south of Portland. It was my first road race and probably my last. I'm more of a mountain biker. I'm kind of figuring. I did have a lot of fun. First, let's get out of the way what I was riding. So I had an S-Works Venge with Di2 shifting and Easton deep dish. No, I'm just kidding. I was actually riding my Pivot Vault cyclocross bike just to make myself roadie worthy. I did put on my Continental GP 4000 S2s and I slammed the stem. But yeah, it was a good 23 pounder for this ride. I didn't really feel like it was too much of a penalty for what I was trying to do, which was really just kind of hang in the crowd and get to know what road racing was like. You guys can tell me if my experience was unique, but really what I noticed for the whole ride was that it was a spirited road ride for the first few laps, and then everybody started pushing, trying to make moves. Fortunately or unfortunately, I was not in that final peloton to make moves for the win, or I don't know, 20th, 30th place, whatever they were fighting for. I actually got dropped at the end of the third lap. So just some observations. We would cruise and catch pretty good speed, and then everybody'd start pounding it out. This is just a few miles into the first lap, and I'm thinking, okay, this is pretty cool. Everybody kind of hits it hard going up the hills, cruise down the hills. This was a course that was 4 laps, and the total climbing was around 1,300 feet, so not a lot of climbing at all. So just some rollers here and there. And I started figuring out fairly early that I don't know if it was just because I was in the middle of the pack, but would cruise down these hills and then start jumping back up out of the saddle, pounding, and then all of a sudden I'd find myself hitting my brakes because the people up front just weren't going. So I'd start hitting it hard and then have to hit the brakes and then start hitting it hard again, and rinse and repeat. So a few miles into that, I'm starting to figure this out. Around the corner, hit it hard, rinse and repeat. And here's, I'm just cruising, what is this, 300-ish watts. My heart rate is nice and relaxed in the 140s, and I realized later how much of a gift it is to be in a peloton. Holy cow. I'm actually putting together a little video that shows the difference that I experienced between being in the peloton and not, just because it was interesting to me. And more rounding corners and hitting it hard. And this is actually the final stretch before the end of the first lap. There's around 2 miles left on this little straight stretch here. And here's the final 200 yards. There's a little climb to get to the finish line. So nice big out of the saddle effort for the final sprint. I don't know. I probably wouldn't have been competitive in that. I don't throw down a lot of watts. Okay, so starting lap 2. And like I was saying, I'm starting to figure out how people are working together here, and that maybe I shouldn't be pushing so hard early on the uphills. And it seems like people are already starting to get a little bit antsy. I got one guy up here. Oh, there he goes. And he's like, screw this. I'm mountain biking today. out of here. And that was kind of what I experienced. You know, people kind of started getting a little antsy. They started, I don't know, you can almost see them getting sore. Here in a little while, kind of see that happening. Yeah, so here's another out of the saddle effort. Feel like we're gonna push it hard. Everybody's rolling. And oh, never mind, we're halfway up the hill. Okay, so what do you do in this situation? I mean, if I just go at a pace where I wouldn't have had to hit it hard, I probably would have gotten passed by 10 guys. So what would you guys do? So now I'm starting to figure it out a little bit better. Just coasting. That guy barely misses the ditch there in front of me. And hitting it hard. Yeah, the longer I ride, the more I figure it out. Oh, this is knock knock guy in front of me. Okay, so I think I kind of got it on this one. I killed the watts early. Just coast, get low. Still coasting. And now I'm going. And the longer I go, the better I figure out that whole interplay. And boy, it seems like I could have even coasted longer. I ended up catching up. I think that's why I realized later that I can actually coast even longer and still end up catching the guys who started pedaling earlier. Still lap 2 here. Around the corner. Hit the gas. So, for any of you guys who have ever been up front, that's not me. Is it the same up front, or do they ride smoother up front with less punchiness? Because I was in the middle of the pack or the back of the pack pretty much the entire time, and I was on the end of the yo-yo. Holy cow! Oh. Yeah, that one I figured out a little bit better. Coasted a little bit longer. Everybody, yeah. And I'm like, I'm on a cyclocross bike. I can hit this great. Screw you guys. You guys got hand cramps. And hit the watts. So here's, I think, one of the better coasting experiences I do. So I actually am coasting pretty much right now. And just kind of get low and carry it. And actually, while I'm coasting, I end up passing a couple people, which, you know, it's always nice when it works out like that. Still coasting, and finally going. All right, final climb to the finish line, and let's start lap 3. How about if we cruise around the corner and jam on some watts? Okay, we'll do that. Okay, that wasn't watts, never mind. Alright, so yeah, we're right about 30 miles now, and this is where I'm starting to notice people acting like they're not too comfortable on the bike. Got all the stretching going. I'm like, I kind of feel like I'm in a bad spot here. I'm surrounded by uncomfortable people. Oh, work that out. Get it out of there. And I think this is actually a pretty good coasting experience. One of them I figured out pretty well, because this is the 3rd lap, so I was really starting to understand that these guys just don't pedal the last third of the hill. So I'll just catch them at the top. Still not pedaling, and there they are. Still got to hit the brakes. Now I have to pedal. And throwing it down. This is a sketchy little situation here. Almost lock handlebars. Woo. I own that vent, that grate. Alright, so we are solidly into lap 3 now. And I am about to get dropped. This is Charlie on my left, the green guy. And I'm pretty sure he's drinking beer right now. Goes here in a minute. Okay, so you can see that I'm a little whooped here. I'm at 176 heart rate, pushing 300 watts. Oh, there's Charlie again. And not a good time to get a cramp. Oh, Charlie. Anyway, so there goes the peloton. And I am stubborn, so I am chasing. And in hindsight, if you guys have any better advice, definitely let me know. But in hindsight, I should have just poured on the watts right there, just done a monster sprint just to try to catch them. But instead, I try to do steady watts, and they stay steadily ahead of me. This killer. I almost thought about dropping in behind this guy just to catch a little breather. I'm at 182 heart rate, still pushing over 300 watts. And there's the actual peloton. They're pulling ahead even further. Here's the 200-yard marker to the finish line. I'm like, oh, they are right there. I got them. I'm so close. I just got to get to the top of this hill. And the follow car says, nope, you suck. But I'm stubborn, so I'm still thinking I can catch him. So eventually, the follow car is like, no, you can't draft off me. You got to go by. So I'm still pushing the top 95% of my heart rate, 110 RPM, but I'm in my own wind, so I'm only at 22 miles an hour. I think I was more like 25, 26 when I was in the peloton. So they are so close. I just kept thinking they are so close. They are right there. But no, I couldn't catch them. But it was not for lack of trying. I fought hard. Okay, so there they go. And I'm thinking, okay, downhill. No, never mind. And then this uphill is just over. 180 beats per minute, 500 watts. I'm so blinded with pain that I can't even think to shift. I'm pushing less than 60 RPMs, 11 miles per hour. It's just pathetic. And the only reason the follow car hasn't passed me at that point is because it was on a blind spot. There they go. All right, and here comes Knock Knock Guy. DFL. He tells me I'm dead effing last. That was actually pretty funny. I did enjoy that. It was heartwarming. Okay, so I get in behind him a little bit, but I'm still fairly burnt, from just trying to follow, and then come upon this scene. And this is where I'm happy that I wasn't in the peloton. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys down. I stopped to try to help, but the marshal or whoever was in that vehicle told me to keep going. So I kept going, and 200 yards from the finish line, and we get this scene. And these two scenes are why I feel like I'm kind of already done with road racing, even though this is only my first race. I've done a lot of mountain biking, and I've done a fair amount of cyclocross, and I have not seen this many wrecks in all of the races that I've done in those races compared to just this one. I haven't, and I know it happens. I don't know. I guess I just got spooked, but you know, there were ambulances that came by to pick up some of those people. So serious injuries. You know, the asphalt is very unforgiving. And then here's just a little conversation about what happened. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. If you have any advice, I'd definitely love to hear it. One thing I did mention, or one thing I did hear, was that I should have joined the Masters race instead of just the Cat 4-5. That would have been a little cleaner race, but you know, hindsight and all that good stuff. Anyway, likes, thumbs up, whatever. Catch you at the next one.